Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester. And I'm sure you are too because you are, excuse me, watching content like this. The name of this channel is Holistic Manifesting because I believe in whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we're choosing. Now, I was starting this video thinking I'm not going to do the intro today because I'm just going to talk and make them short and sweet because I got a lot of things to do. But actually, I don't have a lot of things to do, and that's what this video is really about. I think when I turn the camera on, it's just autopilot, which is all good. I had a much needed break and I'm ready to get back at it. So what I'm discussing in this video is how to live a stress-free life. A lot of people are walking around completely and utterly stressed out of their minds. You don't see it on their faces. You don't see it in their movements and the way they talk to people and the way they have conversations. I remember a job I was working at. I was working with this young lady who had the whole entire employee happiness job on her back. And I remember thinking that she carried it so well. And then I had a private conversation with her one day, and I realized that she was stressed out beyond stress. Like everything that she had in her life was wrapped up into that position, like her place to live, her job. Even her husband was taking a sabbatical from work for whatever reason at that time. And she was carrying the entire cost of childcare and everything on her back as in that position. And then the position was also stressful. So I'm saying all that to say that sometimes we can't tell that other people are stressed out. And I think that when we operate at a high level of stress on a regular basis, that we can't even tell when we're stressed out. Like we don't even know. We don't even know the difference between, getting up and feeling good and feeling free and feeling peaceful, and then getting up and feeling at like if stress is on a level of like 1 through 10, we may get up at a 5 every day, and we may have been at that 5 for like the past 10 years of our lives. How do we even know what 1 or 0 feels like? Because we haven't seen it in so long, or we've never even seen it at all, right? So how to live a stress-free life. One of the things that I've noticed that I've implemented in my life, because this morning I got up and I was motivated to do this video. I got up and it was like 10 something, maybe 11. I don't normally sleep that late, but I just took a trip with my daughters and all. And travel does that to you. You come back and it's like you got to like make up for all the time where you were like in the wrong bed or on the airplane and all this kind of stuff. And so when I got up, it's been 2 days in a row. I've gotten up at 10 something. And I looked around and I was like, oh, wait, I have nothing to do. Like, I have nothing specific to do at all. Like, there's nothing, on my back hounding me. My daughters are grown. And so I don't really get up to do anything for them in the morning anymore. And I was thinking to myself, like, how did I get to this place where I have this almost completely stress-free life? And then, like, I was listening to a YouTuber the other day, maybe about a month ago, and she was like, give your first 20, 30 minutes, whatever, to source energy, to God, whatever you call it, to the creator. Just give your time and energy to that space. And it's like, be grateful that you're there, feel blessed, think about all the wonderful things happening in your life, all those things, and then kind of just sit in and bask in just being there. So that's something that I've been practicing for a long time, but sometimes I forget. So I go back to it. And I was doing that and thinking like, man, this is nothing but everything is pretty beautiful, right? Now, I know someone else could walk up into my life and say, well, you're missing this. You might be missing that, missing this. But I don't feel that way. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I feel like there's a beautiful abundance, like every single day, always happening. And then I was checking on things that needed to be done, like say everyday life stuff, bills and all that. And everything was fine. It's just a habit that I've had for a long time of waking up and going, what ball is dropped, right? And really no ball is dropped at all. And so sometimes we don't even realize it. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking about how did I get to this place of feeling this such little stress in my life on a regular basis? And I'm going to go through a few things, but I'll start off with number 1. I eliminated any worry or aggravation that I had wrapped around money and finances. What I realize is that even when money or finances is not working out exactly the way that you want it to work out, feeling stressed about it has never helped it in any kind of way. It doesn't help me come up with good ideas. It doesn't help me think about ways that I can save myself. It doesn't help me be more grateful. It doesn't help me feel more free and get into the flow of abundance that truly brings in that financial abundance to your life. Finance is one of the biggest stresses that people deal with. what I realized is that it never helped whatsoever. It does not help anything whatsoever. And slowly but surely, I started, every time I would get in the mode get the notion of wanting to worry about money or finances or stress about that, I immediately would turn to, nope. I would have this like automatic cutoff switch. Nope. And then I would go into like journaling, like all of the things I'm grateful for. Now, mind you, this whole thing I'm talking about is years coming. But when it's happening, when you're shifting yourself, when you're going through a paradigm shift, a lot of times when it's spanned over a long period of time, we don't notice that it's happening. And so I look now and I look back 5 years ago. I'll look back, I would say at this point, 10 years ago, I'll look back and say 10 years ago and think about how my mindset was then. And then like now I was working on this mindset I have now a lot on a daily basis. I was always trying to see the brighter side, always trying to create an environment of peace and flow, because I knew deep down in my heart of hearts, that's what brought in the beauty. That's what brought in the abundance, right? So no stress over finances because it's useless. It's completely and utterly useless. I understand it, but it does nothing for you. Another thing I noticed was when I was laying there is that I don't have a lot of people in my space on a regular basis. Now, do I know a lot of people? Yes, I know a lot of people. But do I have them in my life interacting with me on a daily basis, sending me text messages during the day and in the morning and like telling me about their lives and all this kind of thing? No, I don't. When I want to reach out to certain people that I enjoy talking to, I reach out, I have a little conversation with them. I ask them about their kids. They ask me about mine, and we go from there. But as far as that daily life interaction with people and their ups and their downs and their stresses and what's wearing them out and the people in their lives and what's not working in their lives and all that, I'm not saying I'm not an ear if someone needs to share that information. But sometimes we get caught up in these spaces to where we're a part of everything other people have going on. So it's like all day, every day, we got text messages, interactions, conversations, phone calls all day, meeting someone to do this and that. The whole entire day has passed and you've not had a real moment to sit back and reflect and be in your own space and be in your own mindset. Like you don't want to get to that. You don't want to be that. And what I realize is that I've created an environment to where I've attracted people who are okay with, hey, do you want to talk on this day? We schedule time. Or, hey, this is a question I had about real estate or something like that, dealing, with another acquaintance of mine. And they don't mind being tapped out of the blue or being tapped once a month or something like that. You have other people that are in your life that get really, really offended if you are not in their space and available for their beck and call constantly. Like they say, well, you're not a person I can depend on. You're not a friend. I'm not a person you can depend on 24/7, like in that sort of way. But when you have a real issue or something goes on, feel free to call me. But as far as that codependent type connection, I don't have those anymore. The most codependent I am, if you're going to say it's codependent, is with my daughters because we live together. I see them every day and that's just what it is. Right? And so what I did notice is that those types of relationships bring a lot of stress in your life because not only are you dealing with the stuff that you have going on, you're also dealing with what they have going on and you're trying to solve their problems. You may not know you're trying to do it, but as a good friend, as a good person, you hear somebody going through something, you're trying to work it out for them some kind of way in your head, some kind of way in your thought process. And that's something else that I noticed over time I have eliminated out of my life. And people say, get rid of toxic friendships, toxic relationships. Some of them were not necessarily toxic. It was just the way that the relationship was playing out. It no longer worked for me. So when I tried to shift it into a new space, which was more calm, which was more stress-free, which was more relaxed, which was more, I felt adult, right? And mature. Some of those relationships didn't last through that. And that's okay, right? That's perfectly okay. And I realize sometimes people don't feel close to you if they don't talk to you on a daily basis or every single day and all that kind of stuff. I've never been a person that needed that much contact with people on a regular basis, but I understand. And I'm not mad if people feel like, well, I don't know you anymore. I don't know. And for me, in my brain, I feel like I know someone when I know their heart, when I know how they operate. I don't have to talk to them it can be a month. It can be 2 months, 3 months, whatever. But I know their heart and I know how they operate. I think my dad is a prime example of that, because sometimes I talk to him like every Sunday, and then sometimes it falls off and it's just like a month will pass, maybe two. But I don't get on the phone with him and go, I feel like I don't know you. I know his heart. I know his character, and I don't have to get to know him all over again. So it's like establishing connections like that are a lot more beneficial to have a stress-free life on a regular basis. You're not caught up in someone else's minutia, right? And another thing, last but not least, I kind of touched on it already just a second ago when I started the video. Take those breaks. Take big breaks. I was sitting there thinking about this because I haven't posted in a minute, right? It's been probably like 10 days, I think it said, maybe 11. And at first I was going to be like, oh, I'm not posting, and post a little something and share what I'm doing. And like, say I'm not going to be on for a week. But I was like, who cares? There's so many people on YouTube. It's like, who cares? But at the same time, there was a little bit of guilt that sunk in, because I was just like, well, maybe you don't want to be a person that shares information because you're taking this break. And should you be taking a break? Should you be, shouldn't you be like, sitting at the airport and, recording video because you care so much? And I had to come to the conclusion, like, no, no, it's okay if you don't show up for everything that you got going on in your life 24/7. Because what I realized is, like, life is like a game. Life is like a game. Think of a game like Candy Crush. It's a game I've never played, but I feel like it might be similar to like Tetris or something like that. I did play a lot of Tetris. Think about those things. What you're trying to do is constantly stay on top of things. Get it to where everything doesn't get overloaded and crowded in your life. Like on Tetris, you want to eliminate the blocks before they pile all the way up to the top, right? That's pretty much what you do. Sometimes I have these days where I look and I check my phone, and the only thing that I'm doing is looking at my calendar and looking at dates and making sure that I didn't miss a bill and that everything is paid and everything is scheduled and everything is flowing smoothly. Like, that is the culmination of my day sometimes. And when I think about that, I think like this never changes. I've been doing this for a long time now. I've been doing this since I was in my youth, since I was going to school, since I was in high school, making sure I didn't drop any balls, and then going to college, and then having kids, especially when you got all their little activities going on, and then you got payments for everything, and then you got fees and dues and all these sort of things. And it's still the same thing now. It's like a video game. You got to pull yourself out of that video game sometime and say, hey, even though I'm checking on these things, this is not the culmination of my life. This is not the totality of why I exist. To wake up in the morning and check my bank account and check my calendar to see what's due, and then check the credit cards and make sure that's paid, and then make sure this is done. And then it's like, okay, I feel relaxed. No, I want to feel relaxed before I do that, because that is just a game. It's like, this is my life. And then that little game is being played on the side, right? It's like me sitting there playing solitaire while I'm waiting for my order at a food place, right? It's the same difference. That should not be the totality of your day. You got to start your day off knowing that all the other areas in your life are just as important, if not more important, than those little things that we think we're going to drop the ball on, or the things that we think we're going to forget. We need to do this, doctor's appointments, dental appointments, blah, blah, blah. Because not to be like crude, I've watched people do all these things and then they die. We all gonna go through that. So it's like, what do you want your life to be focused on at the end of the day? Do you want your life to be fully focused on playing Tetris 90% of the day? Or do you want it to be focused on maybe meditation, maybe reading a good book, maybe watching a good TV show, maybe doing some yoga on your own for like 10 minutes if you don't like going to classes, right? Maybe taking a 10-minute walk, maybe, having a nice conversation with your kids or your siblings or your loved ones or whoever, right? You want to make sure that you're putting things into the proper perspective, like you're moving things over that are not as important. Like, play the game. The game is fine. We have to play the game in order to exist, but don't make the game the totality of your existence, because it's just not. And it's just a pitiful life to live if you can look back for 6 months and all you've been doing is playing the game of life. It's like scheduling appointments, going to this, going to work, doing this little task, paying this bill, making sure this is done, putting this on the calendar. It's like, set aside time to do that, but make sure you have so much other free time and expansive time where you're not even thinking about those things, right? And you can move on with your day. Anyway, how to live a more stress-free life. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.